Hi, Fidelia, could you be speaking to us?
Good.
Sorry, Fidelia, I thought you were talking to us and you are muted, but it's okay.
Thank you, team, for joining this webinar. I would like to start. From the host, we'll have a brief introduction from Samuel Ochieng, and also we also get the trainers giving us the brief about this webinar, and we also have question and answer session. So for now, I'm just going to invite you through a very short prayer as we start the meeting. Let's bow for a word of prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this particular meeting we're about to start. We pray for your guidance, and we pray, Lord, that you're going to deliberate things that are going to improve in our personal endeavors and also for the betterment of our organizations. We pray this trusting and believing in your holy mighty name. Amen. So at this juncture,
Amen.
I want to welcome Samuel
Amen.
Ochieng to give us an introduction. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Justin. And good afternoon, everyone. I can see it has just turned 12:07. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Sam.
Oh, thank you so much. That response depicts that at least that two-level communications. Online connection, you can find talking alone. So my name is Sam Ochieng. I'm the head of corporate communications and marketing, and also the PA to the managing director. I'm trying to improve the visual image. If possible, I can be seen, but I'm not seeing. I'll have somebody sort it out for me. So I would want to welcome everyone. This is University of Nairobi Enterprise and Services Limited. I believe we have a mixture of participants, those from within and those from outside. We all want to welcome all of you in this auspicious occasion to discuss and, of course, deliberate matters of project management. University of Nairobi Enterprise and Services Limited is the commercial arm of the University of Nairobi, which is tasked in ensuring that we inculcate the entrepreneurial mindset to the university community and those of the outside community. That covers all citizens within the Kenyan sphere and abroad across the borders. And indeed, we've done it because service delivery is our core mandate to ensure that the common citizen are served. So it goes beyond staff only and the University of Nairobi fraternity only. So alongside, we have the business initiative. We have consultancy to which this training is pegged on. We have quite a number of activities that goes on within the consultancy. So we have other trainings, of course, which is mounted. There are those that have already happened. There are those that are yet to happen. And these will be part of the data. We also have, the contract researches that have been done and also working on projects, more so dealing with the government to government. We've touched lives in very special ways. You think of Huduma Center, I believe you've ever had it. I don't want to drum, so loud, but of course the action speaks by itself. We've done quite a number. The Dongo Kundu project, that is the road project in Mombasa. And there are quite a number. We worked with the MDS, that is the ministries and agencies departments. We've also worked with the parastatals and the mainstream institutions, all universities inclusive. So alongside, we have the medical services. We have eye center, we have dental care. The eye center is situated along Ralph Batch Road, which is opposite Nairobi Hospital or Lee Funeral Home. You walk in there, you'll be sorted out in terms of the premier dental services that we are We are in partnership with the insurance agencies, and therefore, should you have insurances and NHIF, you could sort it out. We have iCenter, which is, of course, has picked up, and we are running series of service provisions, especially if you have vision problems. We have glasses and sunglasses there for your own quick take. We accept cards there, all insurances. There are those insurances that we appear in their panel, and therefore we are able to provide a solution. We have a radiology department that does the scanning and the imaging, which is situated at Kenyatta, being that University of Nairobi and Kenyatta Hospital are in tandem. But we have a section where to which we do the scanning and further prescription to that effect. We have Chiromo Funeral Parlor, which is an iconic funeral parlor, which we all know. I know there are quite a number that have evolved out of that, but there are quite a, it is indeed that we have quite a number, but Chiromo remains an icon. We've dealt with quite a number of cases, of course. I'm not telling you that to bring them there, but of course it speaks itself when the situation comes. We partnered with quite a number of churches and hospitals and all that, and therefore we are touching life in a very special way. It's a very special center. We have bindery, and we do bindery for projects, not only for students. We do bindery for other institutions, and there are those special books and editions which institutions bring, and they would want bound in a very special way as per their own standard, and we do that in a large scale. So we have bookstores also. Bookstores, we sell and provide institutions with learning resources, be it ICT related, be it the classroom or classwork related. We have stationaries, we have all textbooks from all thematic areas, be it business, law, mechanics, civil, and all that. So you can purpose to visit. We are present online. You can do online ordering, and such will be delivered to you at your own comfort. We are in Kisumu, Mombasa, Nairobi, and all are working. And therefore, we are providing and touching lives. UNES is a bit unique because it is very difficult to find a business with conglomerate product and services being housed within the same roof. And therefore, you take UNES as a case study. It will be a case of its own because you will not have another comparison of the same. It is true that other institutions are taking suit because of the cash crunches and economic downtime, and the level that we've reached put us in a level that at least we can match some other industry players which are very specific to a given service provision. We talk of consultancy matching, Deloitte and Touche, KPMG, and the rest. But you cannot get another outfit with this quite a number of products that we do. But University of Nairobi is a center for solutions, and therefore having UNES Limited with the same outfit matches it. And the good thing is we are government, and therefore we also understand the plight of the Kenyan citizen, and that's why we are who we are. So without much ado, I know today is your day, and therefore project management is something, trendy right now. It is a course that I'm very sure, began not really quite a while back, and it is attracting a lot of interest. And therefore, we thought that it's high time for us to have this happening now, and we will be rolling more and more. I know there are those ICT related ones that will be coming in alongside the project management. So I can see there are quite a number of us here present, and I want to welcome you and cherish you, and for you to log in and be part of the change that we are trying to drive. Once again, Justin, I'm back to you, and I appreciate. Feel at home. This is a virtual meeting room. Please feel at liberty to engage further. I know the question and answers will be there. The facilitator will be there. Whatever you require, you can use the chat box. So the rest will be emphasized by Justin and our facilitator. Thank you very much, and welcome to UNES. We are part of you. Thank you so much. Justin, back to you.
Thank you, Sam. We were hoping to be joined by your MD, but quickly I'll request if Jennifer can give an introduction to our trainer for today. We'll be taking about the courses, what it entails, the certification. But if that is not available, then we can wait for MD to finish something that he is still working on. So at this juncture, let me invite Andrin Baraza, who is going to take us about this PMBOK training that is scheduled for takeoff on 25th up to 29th. And we are hoping a majority of us who are here will be able to join us for that training. It's already becoming a very important course, and we are hoping to benefit a lot in terms of understanding what it entails, the certification, the versions that is available. So help me welcome Mr. Aldrin Barasa to take us through. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samuel and Jerry, for inviting me on board and actually organizing this webinar. Allow me to share a document that could help us wade through. If you could allow me participant screen sharing. I think I'm being disallowed there.
Please go ahead.
Is that visible?
Yeah, crystal clear.
Okay, good. Now, this is just to thank everyone for the interest in project management. If we start off from the premise that it is accurate that 66% of large construction and engineering projects fail, what does that tell us about the livelihood of people that could be depending on those kind of projects? And if they say that 14% of ICT projects are an outright failure, then what does that say about as IT people, as project practitioners, not to talk about those that will be depending on those services? Now, 14% outright failure sounds like something that's very small, but look at it this way, that was an outright failure. That 1% didn't even meet goals. So imagine that you've been given 45% of a number of projects, 45% of them didn't even meet goals. Whether the budget was extended, whether you are given more time, we still didn't meet the goals. And there we are. So as you can see, it's very, very important that we embrace project management and actually realize that project management is not about the project that you're managing. It's a lot more that goes to it. And it's more important the value that that project will be given to the people. So when COVID happened, we assumed, oops, now projects will not be happening, but hey, we needed a life-saving project. So you project managers, we still relied on you. If you drive around, you'll see lots of structures still being erected, and those are projects. And if you're a student, you think you're so far away from projects, you've been doing projects all along. You built a small house, that was a project. You probably had, you planned your own wedding, that was a project. You probably participated in some other big projects. Those are projects, and a lot is being called upon you to actually sit and just deliver. So the question is, if you are to look at, if you are to reassess yourself, for example, and supposing that the fishbone that I'm projecting here reflects what could cause projects to fail. Things like project manager, yes, you, the project manager. Things like planning, changes, scheduling, cost. Team members funding, maybe management, resources, incentives and penalties, risk analysis, information management. If those were the things that could be causing project failure, reassess your skills and ask yourself, which are your 4 weakest points? Among those mentioned here, of course, you could include some that are not here. So just note down on your notepad 4 of those mentioned that are your weakest, so that as we go to look at what the PMBOK or body of knowledge is offering, you really should be confident that this training would really help you to up your game. Now remember that you as a project manager, you're in control of a number of these other things. Whether changes happen, it's not what happens, it's what we do with what happens. We know we need to plan. Again, the project manager will be planning, will be scheduling. You'll be worrying about costs. You have to create an humble atmosphere for team members to be in, or at least form a team. You'll be worrying about funding and how it will happen. And you'll keep, you have lots and lots of stuff that you really need to keep going. So I think there is a reason, there's a good reason why we should up our game in project management, because people's lives depend on those projects. As you can see, it's not just the work, the technical aspects, not just the funding. It's more the value that the project intends to drive, so that then everybody is able to probably get whatever bit that was supposed to be due to them. And some of them are life-saving. So imagine you failed, Kenyans, on a life-saving project. How are you supposed to fail? Yet it's something you can actually avoid. So we are looking at the project management professional based on the Project Management Institute. And I have to bring to your attention, some of you may not be aware that since August this year, the Project Management Institute has actually revised their 6th edition. And now we are having the 7th edition. So the training that we'll be having will be based on the 7th edition. So just to highlight what has changed, we have known the knowledge areas in the version 6, and the knowledge areas have been integration, scope, schedule, cost, quality, resource, communications, risk, procurement, and stakeholder. And now what this version 7 has done is it has actually come up with a whole new 8 performance domains. Now they're calling them performance domain, because version 7 is now more geared towards performance and project value delivery. So in the new domains, we have team as a domain, we have stakeholders as a performance domain, we have life cycle, project development and life cycle as a performance domain, we have planning, we have uncertainty and ambiguity, and this is one thing that really happens all the time in the environment of the project. Then we have delivery as a performance domain, we have performance itself, and then we have project work. Now, there's 2 other areas that have also been incorporated. There's the aspect of tailoring. The fact that every project is unique. Building the same house in 2 different locations is totally different. Building the same house at different times demands different things. So we need to tailor our projects to the context, so that the methodology or the model that you're using is more specific to the scenario, as opposed to generic thinking or generalized thinking. And then there are tons and tons of tools and the models, methods, and artifacts, which of course we have always had some artifacts, but some have been introduced. Then in the project management standard, we have been cycling around the initiating a project, planning a project, executing, monitoring and controlling, and of course then closing. That was in version 6. Now in the version 7, we have had that replaced with 12 new project management standards, and these are stewardship, team, stakeholders, value, holistic thinking, leadership, tailoring, quality, complexity, opportunities and threats, adaptability and resilience, and change management. So as you can see, there's a bit that has changed. And what has been the focus? What are all those changes about? So the Project Management Institute has actually been listening to feedback from new engineers, from new project managers, from people who are challenged with the kind of projects they've been given, having applied the skills that they have acquired, and it has changed. Now, in 2017, with the version 6 of the PMBOK, we had Agile being introduced in the PMP body of knowledge. And now, in version 7, we have Agile, we have predictive approaches, we have traditional approach, we have adaptive approaches, we have even hybrid. So some of the things that you could have been missing out are now in here. Some of the things you've been hearing about certain approaches in managing projects are now in version 7. Also, tailoring development approaches and processes has been introduced so that whatever model that you pick, whatever methodology you want to use, you can tailor it to the context, within the context of the particular project that you're handling. And then the list of tools and techniques also added in the models, methods, and artifacts. As you know, the PMP is not prescriptive. It's actually descriptive. It does not give you a tool and ask you to deliver results with that tool. It gives you all the tools, explains all the tools to you, and then it's up to you to decide which tool you'll use given the situation that you are in. Then there is now another focus on project outcomes in addition to deliverables. And outcomes here is very important so that this actually gives more direction towards project outcome and value delivery. So it's not just the deliverables, but the outcomes. What comes out of the project? If the project's an output, if what you're building is an output, what comes out of it? Is it benefiting the people as it should have? And then there is integration with the PMI standards, which gives users access to content that helps them apply the project management body of knowledge guide on the job. So I think this has been the focus, and I think it is for the best that we've had these changes with this version 7 of the project management body of knowledge. So in this course, therefore, I hope that you noted down 3 or 4 weak areas, and I would like us to go through what this version 7 has come up with, and I want you to reflect on where you are weak and see if the PMP does not solve your problem. My prayer is that you see how it solves your problem rather than wonder if it solves your problem, because the PMP is not an approach, like say Prince2 is an approach, a PMP is a standard. Now, an approach will be a method of solving something, a method of managing a project, but a standard as PMP is everything that you need to know to manage any project. So especially if you're students, the earlier you know these things, the better, so that as you go to attachment, imagine if you could be the one shining in your attachment, adding value in a project that you found underway or one that was started while you're there. And also most of us at the work engagement, we are the people running this country actually. With the systems that we put in place and run, those are the systems that are running the country. With the projects that are supposed to deliver systems that fail, we are the ones failing the country, because then Mwananchi will not get anything if our projects fail. So project management is so critical. I wonder why it's not taught in every faculty. Because at the end of the day, there will be a project, whether a chemical project, a mathematics project, an engineering project, a systems project. There's project management everywhere. In almost every course at Masters, everyone does a project. So why isn't everyone just doing project management actually? So if you look at what we have here, there is the standard for project management, and in this we'll have the introduction. From this introduction, we just look at the purpose of the standard. We look at the key terms and concept and the audience for the standard. Then there is a system for value delivery. I mentioned earlier that the version 7 has moved from processes to more project delivery. So you want to measure every aspect. That's why knowledge areas have moved to performance areas. So we have creating value, organizational governance systems and functional associated with the projects. The project environment, which is very, very important, because especially if you're in a political environment, your pastel is something that you have to keep your eyes on, especially if you're going and you must be doing project risk management. I'm told one hand is up. Could I know why it is up? Okay, we'll proceed. If you look at the system for value delivery, really there is a bit that the project talks about. And yes, these notes will be given out. Actually, you're better off coming for the course itself, where we'll look at all these things in detail, and we'll have enough time to discuss every bit of it. Then there's project management principles. And this is what you need as a project manager to actually deliver your value. You need to be diligent, respectful, and a caring steward, as opposed to being bossy. You need to create a collaborative project team environment, as opposed to just working with a crowd of people and calling them a project team. Effective engagement with stakeholders. And again, here, sometimes we keep forgetting stakeholders. And when the stakeholders wake up, guess what? Your scope just changed. They are raising very important things you never captured. So it's very important that you engage them. Focus on value, the value that must be delivered, recognizing, evaluating, and responding to system integrations, demonstrating leadership behavior. And this is very, very, very important, because we expect you as a project manager to be the leader on that project. And who is going to tell you what the leadership behavior is? This course will. So you need to tailor your approach based on the context, then build quality into processes and deliverables, which is very much in line with total quality management philosophy. And then navigating complexity, and there are lots of complexities in projects. You need to optimize risk responses. And I think risk is also one area where we kind of fall asleep. We make an assumption at the beginning of the project. And as the project takes off, we forget that the things we feared could happen may actually be happening. And then embracing adaptability and resiliency, so that not any little thing kicks you off the ground. Then enable change to achieve and envision future state. Sometimes we give change as an excuse as to why we did not achieve a state that was anticipated. But here we are being coached to use that change to still realign and drive or navigate the project to the expected envisioned future state, despite the change that needed to happen. And then on the project management body of knowledge, again, the introduction is on the project management body of knowledge. So the guide, the standard for project management, the changes that I've just alluded to earlier, and the relationship to PMI standards. And then on project performance domains, these are the ones I've been talking about. And at the end of each project performance domain, there is a measure. There is the value that's expected, and there's a measure. So you can see whether you have achieved that value that you're supposed to achieve. So it's actually a performance domain. Have you performed? It's actually a performance domain. And this applies to stakeholder, team, development approach and life cycle, planning, project work, delivery performance, measurement, uncertainty. How did you do under uncertainty? And then there is tailoring. So in tailoring, we look at an overview and why would you need to tailor? Of course, it should be clear why would you need to tailor a model, a methodology, an approach. And then the tailoring process. So you are guided there on how to actually tailor. Then tailoring performance domain also. You need to look at, have you tailored it right? Have you achieved that which you hoped to achieve? And then there are the tools, the models, methods, and artifacts. Lots of these. The commonly used models, which are explained very clearly. Models applied across performance domains, commonly used methods, and commonly used artifacts. And these are very important because especially when it comes to some of these systems projects, IT projects, we tend to be a little weak on artifacts, descriptions of what we were supposed to achieve, who our stakeholders are, so that anyone joining that project can easily see that we are way behind or we're way out or disaligned with the project objectives as we move along with that project. So this standard clearly spells out a number of artifacts and the level to which they should be put. And this is a wonderful thing because then it kind of gives a very good documentation for any project that you do, which is very good input to lessons learned at the end of every project. And that is what we'll cover. However, for exam preparation, we are going to give you some course slides based on the version 7. And we are going to give you access to a 2021 exam preparation test resource. That is the very latest that we got. And just to give you an idea how the exam content outline looks like, and again, this is a 2021 version of the exam content. We have a project management exam content outline 2021. And basically, the exam is testing you on the fact that projects are done by people. So there is a people aspect. And these people will undertake certain processes that we call project management. And those processes take place in an environment. So it's about people, it's about processes, and it's about the environment. Now, questions that will be asked will be around each one of these. And they're all listed here. And we have more than 40 questions on each one of them. And we have 4 complete tests for the entire project management course. So there are 4 tests which are complete. And then there are some smaller quizzes around each one of these. So under people, we have manage conflict, which is really, you realize this is really tied to what the standard was talking about. Lead a team, how do you lead a team, support team performance. So you're going to be tested on how you manage conflict, how you lead a team, how you support team performance, how you empower team members and stakeholders, how you ensure team members and stakeholders are adequately trained, how you build a team, how you address and remove impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team. And really, this 1.7 is very, very critical. Because whenever there is a project, we bring together people from different places and people who have not necessarily been working together, people who do not necessarily trust each other, and they might see anything and everything as an obstacle. And here you, the project manager, you have the responsibility of just being able to remove that. Then how do you negotiate project agreements, like with stakeholders, collaborate with stakeholders, build shared understanding? And here artifacts, again, are very, very important in terms of building shared understanding, engaging and supporting virtual teams, defining team ground rules, mentor relevant stakeholders. And under processes, you will be tested again on the following. Or executing project with the urgency required to deliver business value. And I like 2.1 because sometimes you execute the project, but without the urgency required to deliver business value. So urgency is important. And again, PMP is taking it up very, very seriously. Manage communications, assess and manage risks. So you'll have this and all the way to processes are the things that really you'll be tested in. So stakeholder engagement, planning and managing budget resources, planning and managing quality of products, deliverables, or managing project changes, plan. So if you had jotted down 4 key areas where you think you're weakest, you can, I'm sure by now you're beginning to feel you will be tested in those areas. Besides the projects having tested you in how well you performed or perhaps performed not, you'll also have to be tested in the exam. So there is lots of this going on all the way. And then in the environment, we have a plan and manage project compliance. How will you, how do you do that? Because it'll be tested. How do you evaluate and deliver project benefits and value? How do you evaluate and address external business environment changes for impact on the scope? And how do you support organizational change? So this is your exam content outline. This is 2021. And the resource that will give those who will register will be useful for them to be able to really confidently pass the exam. Now remember, you have some project management skills. You have done some project management here and there, but you need to reorganize those things. You need to put them together and find the gaps and attend this course and fill up those gaps and look at the questions and pass that exam and have that right confidence. Now, in the States, people who have a PMP always get 20% pay rise more or earn more than those who do not have. And I think it's about $10,000 more than Prince 2 generally. And I'm not saying anything against Prince 2. I'm just alluding to statistics that I've seen. And you could also find out more. And I think that should bring us really to the end of this session of what we will cover. Someone is asking the difference or the connection similarities between PMBOK. Now, the Project Management Institute is the one that is responsible, that has come up with this project management standard. And we have, because it's a standard, it is addressing everything that you need, and that's why they're calling it a standard. And that body of all the issues that you need to know is what you're calling the project management body of knowledge. So those are the things all the things that you need to know to be able to manage a project. Now, when you pass, when you sit your exam and pass and you have adequate experience, then you qualify to be a PMP, and a PMP is a project management professional. Now, there is a question about Prince 2. Prince 2 stands for Projects in Controlled Environment. Prince 2 is another commonly used, especially, it started in the UK, so it's commonly used in the UK. PMP is more used in the US, in Africa, in Asia, and many other continents. Now, Prince 2 is an approach to project management, while PMP BOK will be a standard. So the difference are that PMP is more a standard, Prince 2 is a method or an approach to project management. Therefore, PMP is descriptive. It tells you all the tools, explains each tool. It's up to you to choose the right tool and use it. While Prince 2 may pick a tool and run with that tool and get you through to the end with that tool and not talk about the rest of the tools. Also, when it comes to project governance, PMP assumes that the project manager is the leader and is accountable for the project. While in Prince 2, they think that the project governance, there has to be a project board that is accountable, and that the project manager is only responsible for that which he is mandated to do by the board. So I think those are the those are some and major differences between the PMP based on the body of knowledge and Prince2, without demeaning any or the other. Insofar as the penetration out there, I think there's more Prince2 out there than PMP, but PMP seems to be strong in terms of remuneration and the demand for it. But again, the numbers out there may not be relevant. The numbers in Africa will be a lot more relevant, and I think PMP will be more. But that should not be the basis. The basis, if you had to ask me, and please do not ask me, but the basis, if you had to ask me, would be whether you want to know everything that you need to know to be able to handle any project of any kind and tailor it to meet the context therein, or do you want to take a particular approach and apply that approach to all projects of any kind, no matter what? So I would still go by PMP or the PMBOK, which I think it's very important for us to understand. And again, you people, some of you are very senior, you're engineers, you have had lots of stuff to do. And the last thing we want to hear is there's something you didn't know. So know everything, have it all, apply it, help us. We need you. We need you to be successful, because sometimes our lives could be depending on that project. If it's a hostel you're building, if it's a ward you're building and it didn't come to completion, our lives are at stake. It's not just the mortar and the brick, the architecture and the design. No, it could just be lives. So ladies and gentlemen, I think this should bring us to the end of an awareness of what we as UNES intend to offer. And personally, I am very excited that there is such a good turnout, because we are going to really, really enjoy this. This could be the thing that you have been missing. And if you think you're very good in project management, but you're not certified, please come pick what is due to you. If you're good, let the whole world know, so we can recognize you, so we can pick you from among the rest and give you something to do for us. So thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being online. Thank you for the questions, which mean there is interest. And I ask you to join us in the forthcoming training, which I am very, very sure you are going to enjoy. And since there's been a change, you'll be among the first people to really be enjoying this version 7, while others are asking you what it's all about. So thank you, and karibu, and back to Justin.
Thank you, Mwalimu. We appreciate that you're also interacting with us through the chat. There are some kind of 7 questions. I'm going to allow Mwalimu to answer. There is one from Marco. There is another one from anonymous attendee, and another one from David. You can look at the questions that have been posted there. We are hoping even those will not be able to answer during this session, we are going to give you feedback through your registered emails after this presentation. And as Mwalimu answers those questions, our MD is already in our panel. So after that, we'll have a brief introduction about UNES, and also in terms of these courses that we are going to deliver. There are some questions that I'm going to answer for you through your chat that you have asked about the nature of the training. The training is physical as per the preferred venue, and we are hoping the first 50 that we have paid by 19th of this month will be able to join that particular training. So keep your questions coming. We have not ended the session. Thank you, and back to you, Mwalimu.
Thank you so much. The approaches of improving on planning and managing budget resources, I think I would like you to join this class, seriously, because planning is one really big thing that easily gets us off. You know, that's why they say failing to plan is planning to fail. And budget and resources in project management, wow, that is quite something. it can be quite a bit, but it's best when you come attend, because all these things are actually addressed. And since everything depends on the next thing, it's best that you have the entire system, because I can see you're already good in project management. You really want to improve in those areas, but those areas are also interconnected to other areas. So please, welcome aboard. In terms of whether the training can be done online, I think it's been answered. This training is in person, it's physical, and we're looking forward to you people attending. Is there any other question? If you could just read out the question to me that I could have probably skipped.
That's all we have. And at this juncture, we're also going to have a poll just to understand deep in terms of your expectation from this training. So I'm going to invite our MD, Mr. Seida Becker, to give a brief. Welcome,
Okay,
MD.
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Justin. Thank you very much, participants, for registering to this webinar. This is just an appetizer to a very interesting interaction, which you'll be taken through by our Mwalimu. I believe that the appetizer is quite appetizing, that you are excited to participate in this training. As Justin has mentioned, the slots are very few, so we'll take the first in, first serve basis. So I want to encourage us to register as soon as possible. I think the account details has been provided in the system, in the chat box. Please make your payments and secure space, because these are very competitive course and very relevant to the project management. And you have very qualified technical team who will be taking you through. At the end of the course, we will also be given certificates that you can also use to boost your CV. So on behalf of the UNES board and management, I just want to welcome all of us to participate in this interesting interactive training, which has even practical sessions. You will be able to visit some of the project sites and see reasons why some projects fail, some reasons why some projects succeed, and this can be replicated in your areas of work. So mine is to just welcome you to this professional course that will improve your skills. Thank you very much and be blessed. Over to you, Justin.
Thank you, MD. We have a small polls that you are going to participate. I want to encourage all of you just to take just 1 minute to answer some of the questions you have posted for you there, just to understand in terms of your expectations. We'll be interacting, and we also be continuing to have much of your questions answered. As you participate in the poll, I'm requesting Fidelia to be preparing to give vote of thanks, as we'll be coming to the end of the meeting, but you'll not just exit and disappear. We'll be here to more questions that have not been answered. So just participate in that poll, and it will help us in customizing in terms of the content and the cost for this. Thank you.
So Justin, do I go ahead, or how many minutes do we give the participants?
We can give them 2 minutes. I can see 50% have answered. I'm just waiting for a few who are completing the poll.
Justin, there was a question on the cost. I don't know if it was answered or if it will be communicated to them.
Okay, there are questions that we have been able to answer on our chat. One is, how much is the cost for this training? The training is 110,000 only. That will cover your conference fees, water, writing materials, and the venue, and also inclusive of the certificate that will be issued after end of the 5th day of the training. Again, there are examinations for those who want to take to the next level with the PMP. Mwalimu will be able to guide you in terms of how you pay for that examination fee to get certifications now from the PMP. Those costs are not inclusive of transportations and dinners and accommodation. So the trainees will arrange for that. I hope I've been able to answer some of those questions, especially in terms of how much is the training. The training will be conducted at Tatu Bay, Watamu. But keep your questions coming in. We will also continue to answer them as we go by. So at this juncture, as we are approaching to the end of the poll, I'm inviting Fidelia to give vote of thanks.
Thank you, Justin. Good afternoon, everyone. We'd like to take this opportunity as UNES to thank you so much for creating time and attending this webinar. We just wanted to give you a brief of what to expect at our training. Thank you so much, Aldrin, for taking us through. Thank you, Justin, for the coordination. Thank you, MD. Thank you, Samuel. So we look forward to our participants registering to get more of what our Aldrin has shared. And I believe this will be a very relevant and a course that will really add value to us. So we look forward to having you at Turtle Bay, and keep your questions coming. We are here to answer them, and we look forward to having you. Thank you so much and have a great afternoon. Justin, are you there?
Yeah, thank you. We are not ending the sessions. We are still seeing some comments.
I can
and
see
also
more questions.
So we'll continue to answer them as we come to end of our presentation. Thank you.